What's up and welcome in. You found yourself locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. We've got a special guest on today's Friday episode. You might recognize his beautiful face. That's our guy, John Sabine. We're going to get his thoughts on the Bulls' first preseason game and just how excited he is to watch this Bulls season. That's all ahead on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome into Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host Big Dave at BAW Sports. And you can follow our guest, Mr. John Sabine, at what's the Twitter handle, John?
JSabine214.
There it is. Big Dave and John. So, John, I have to admit something to you. We actually had a pretty cool guest scheduled for today, and he texted me early this morning and said, my daughter's sick and staying home from school. Can we push to next week? And I said, of course, no worries. And then I thought, well, I teased having a guest on yesterday's episode, and I remembered we've been having a lot of people on Twitter being like, yo, where's Sabine? Get Sabine back in. Get Sabine back in. So I texted you like an hour ago, and you were like, yeah, sure.
Can you can't, is it a surprise you can't reveal who the guest is?
Oh, what do you think? I think we're gonna save that.
But whoever it is, I hope that it's much better than me. I truly hope it's like not even like it's not even like store brand cereal. It's like garbage compared to regular cereal.
I think I can confidently say that our guest who postponed, who was supposed to be with us today, is a much bigger deal than you.
Slightly.
The bar. Oh, thank you. Well, this is even funny. I'm even more grateful that I'm a fill-in for someone actually cool.
You're a fill-in. You are our fill-in guest for Friday. But hey, it's Friday, so let's have some fun. John, we were texting because we always are when basketball's on during that Bulls first preseason game. There are a lot of different ways that we could go talking about that Bulls-Cavs blowout. What was the first thing that came to your mind as you were, watching the first moments of that game?
Revenge that we, when we had a really fun job watching every game, we had to watch the Wayne Snelden Juniors of the world and a couple of Samsons for Dustin Case. And now they're like, nah, we don't think there's much of an appetite for Bulls content. And we watched the best team we've had in years. It was like such anger and happiness. It was like a very bizarre feeling because I was just like so mad, and also like because every time they did something great, I just like ah! Like I had friends text me who like aren't Bulls fans, like whoa, legit, I might watch this year. Like I gave up on them. Man, how fun are they? Like so. What a great first game again. Don't tell me it was preseason. Don't tell me it was the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have people who can play basketball, and all of them can kind of play, which there's no no offense, there's no Arch minutes, right? Like there's no Caruso's now Arch, which is crazy.
Yeah. I don't recall many games where Arch had 10 assists in just 20 minutes off the bench.
God, I mean, Javonte Green. I mean, I wanted to buy a jersey so badly. He's legit. Guys, how fun is this? The home at White, everything's coming in. It's all happening. So it was such a good game, and they're really good. They're really, really good.
Yeah, it all felt real, John. I think that was the thing we watched. It was just. It was real. It was real, and it was in your face, and everything that we screamed about and yelled about and wanted to see, we saw it. From all the way down to the white jerseys that I've been screaming about for years.
It's official.
Cried about for years.
The Bulls announced it yesterday. White at home, baby.
Dude, I freaked out. I was just really, really excited. And I knew it was coming because I saw him wearing the media day. But just to get it officially from them just made it even more better. But yeah, man. And I my brother told me when he was driving past the UC during the preseason game, he said he was like, did the Bulls start the regular season? And I said, no, it's preseason. He said, dude, the line outside is insane. He was like, I can't believe this is a preseason game. Like, the appetite is there. Like, Bulls fans know what this team kind of is. And for us to actually see it and to make it real and something tangible that we can touch and see, like, that, it just, yeah, John, I feel you, man. It was crazy. You're right, though. Like, having those kind of mixed emotions. Because, watching that, knowing what we sat and watched, and you're like, oh, man, this is what we deserve to see. This is what we deserve to get into often. And we could not because, we watched the Battle of the Samsons going on. And,
right.
I feel you.
We went through multiple bottles of the 20-point deficit bottle.
Yes.
To just take the edge off of how miserable we were watching that basketball, quote unquote, for 2 years. I mean, all right, let's go here, John. Obviously, a lot of new pieces. You mentioned, Caruso. He was a lot of fun to watch. But what about Lonzo and his full court vision and some of that transition offense we saw, John?
And his defense. Oh my gosh.
And Lonzo's defense, yeah.
I mean, truly, it is one of those things that, like, he's strong. He's decent on D. And again, I always say we never know how to evaluate defense. Like, we just count up blocks and steals and go, I guess it's that guy, which is insane. And no perimeter guys win it ever. And so, which can't be right. So I do feel like Lonzo, like, DeMar's probably better, right? Like, but Lonzo feels like he can, like, come into his full own, like, the full version of Lonzo here. I cannot believe they didn't want to keep him. I don't get it. How did we getting one of them in free agency or this summer, not free agency, but would have been a win, let alone both. And so, man, Lonzo to me was the most exciting part of the night for me.
And it was cool to hear some of his teammates, namely Zach and DeMar, both talk about how he just makes everything easy for everyone out there on the floor. Because he's got a high basketball IQ, and he knows where the easy pass is. He knows where the open space is on the floor. And even just through some training camp scrimmages and one preseason game, you hear them talk about how Lonzo just knows where guys want the ball. And like that, it just like, when's the last time the Bulls have had a player like that? Never.
Truly.
It's been a long time coming, man. And you're right, because Lonzo, the reasons that he said he wanted to come here, saying that the Bulls wanted me for me, and they were going to allow me to play the game the way I want to play it and the way that I like to play it. Like, he hasn't had that opportunity in LA or in New Orleans to do it kind of how he wanted it to. And there's no real, like, pressure on him either. You know what I mean? Like, we know what we want from him, just go out there and do it. And this team is kind of stacked. So it's not like it's dependent on you being, great, the Bulls winning, but it will be helpful for sure because you're our starting point guard and obviously the general of the team, but it's not dependent on you. We're not like, oh man, Lonzo, we'll only go as far as Lonzo can take us kind of thing. So that's a good thing to not have on you. And at the same time, you just see what he does, like you mentioned, on both ends of the floor. And defensively, man, like when he was bodying up Lowry, oh my gosh, man, like we were looking at that, like it just, that just confirmed so many things about Lowry in that one possession, about all the things I didn't want to confirm about him. It confirmed it in that one possession. And I mean, if you ever seen just all the joy of a player I had drain away in one possession, it was that right there. I was like, cleansing. I'm done.
Wasn't it cleansing, that one possession? Any sort of like, oh, we could have kept him, or what if we go, oh, okay,
right,
not my problem. Like, oh, like, we couldn't reach him, and then he didn't graduate high school. it wasn't me, the 7th grade teacher, who did him wrong.
Right. Exactly.
Some kids just slip through the cracks, John.
Really, we tried our best. It was just like I was done. The Lowry chapter that was in my heart was, it was Brienne in Game of Thrones, just like right, closing it, not letting the ink dry for some reason. But yeah, that's how it felt. Like, all right, and now my watch has ended.
My watch is
Yes.
as has Days with his rallying cry to get the Bulls to switch back to white home jerseys.
Shout out
Speaking
Rob
of people bodying Lowry, John, let's talk about your maybe new favorite player, Javonte Green, as John has renamed himself Javonte Sabine. We will get to his game and his first appearance in a surprise start in just a minute. First, I want to tell y'all that if you're playing fantasy basketball this season, you got to do it on that new Sleeper app with that game pick mode. In 2018, fantasy sports experts at Sleeper realized fantasy basketball was broken. Games were being won and lost solely based on whose players had more scheduled games that week. It was dumb. It didn't make any sense. It required no strategy. It was just dumb luck. So in 2020, Sleeper released a brand new way of playing fantasy basketball. It's called Game Pick, and it's only available on that Sleeper app. In Game Pick, owners pick a single game per week for each starter to count towards their team's total score, ensuring an even number of games played between opponents. The days of losing simply because your opponent's players had more games than your players, over. The days of mindless daily busy work, over. The days of giving up halfway through that season because of all that dumb daily busy work for nothing, also over. In Game Picks, you make one game pick per week for each player. And you can base those picks based on things like player matchups, home and away, opponents' defensive rankings, pace of play, and many, many more. All that adds up to more strategy and less busy work. So if you know your fantasy basketball, you're going to win. Whether you prefer redraft, keeper, or dynasty leagues, Game Pick has you covered. Sleeper cracked the fantasy basketball code, people. If you play fantasy football like me, if you prefer building out a weekly strategy, a weekly lineup versus all that daily busy work, you're going to love Game Picks. So download that Sleeper app and start a league with your friends today. You won't be disappointed. John, I know that you are someone who does not necessarily care about defensive stats, and you think that like steals is a dumb stat that's overrated, or maybe some blocks. But do not tell me that Javonte Green's two steals and 4 blocks in that game Tuesday night didn't matter.
It matters. Again, it matters. They don't matter as like fulcrums to pivot, right? They're not badges of honor. They're degrees on a black belt. They're not the belt. That's how I view it as. Like, so people will be like, steals. He leads it in steals. And it's like, great. That doesn't mean that's just a degree. That just helps where you are. You know, those are temperatures. But like, I love him. He looked amazing. He looked like you had to play him. He looked like Patrick Williams. You better show something, because can you do that yet? Like, in theory, absolutely, I think you can. But like, all right, we gave you a year to like get used to it, slow and steady, and we like, all right, man, but now it's like, okay, urgency. Let's get into gear. And I love it. He was so fun. He felt like one of those Bulls that like the fan just loves. He got a standing ovation when he left in the first quarter.
Yeah.
The first quarter of a preseason game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he was making it happen on both ends. He also grabbed 4 offensive rebounds in that one after his initial attempt was denied. And then he was like, no, screw you, Lowry. I'm going to dunk over your 7-foot self. Like, he started at the power forward position. The guy's 6'4".
Truly. He was so fun. It was hard to figure out who was all the likable Bulls is like overwhelming to me, because I'm not used to that. I'm used to like, all right, Zach, carry me through, you know, Wendell and, you know, like, Chris, like, okay, buddy. Like, and now it's like, you can pick and choose. Like, it's the Avengers. I love it. How do you guys feel? Like, are you as high? Obviously, it's one game for you, but I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, I like Javonte Green a lot. I mean, how could you not? You know, and how could you not develop a different kind of respect for him, seeing him play the 4 and he's 6'4" and then play it well? And also how I talked about that one possession, John, that that Lonzo bodying up Lowry drained it away. That dunk that he did on Lowry, I mean, that put it in a suitcase and shipped it away. You know what I'm saying? All out of here, dude. I was done. Like, I was completely done because that made it even worse. Because I'm like, dude, he's 6'4", and off the vertical, he dunked on you. He's 6'4", man, and he dunked on you. Yeah, it was done after that. But Javonte Green, I see him as just that player that teams are going to hate when he comes in the game. They are not going to like it. And he's going to make that lineup, like, because now, John, like, they have different kinds of lineups they can actually go with where you could say, okay, this is my fast lineup. This is my three-point lineup. This is my all-defensive lineup. Like, they can kind of do it like that now, whereas they couldn't really do that before because they didn't know who could do what well. And now when you say, I got my all-defensive lineup, you could put Javonte Green in there with Lonzo, with Caruso, you know what I'm saying, even with Patrick Williams. And you run that out there, guys they're going to hate that. Like, teams are really going to hate playing Javonte Green because he has already shown you that he can guard 4 positions on the floor. Like, that's what that game did. It showed you he can guard 4 positions, man. So your point guard, your shooting guard, your small forward, and your power forward are all going to not like this person. So you got a guy, and you know, John, Bulls fans love grit, which is why he got that standing ovation.
Blue collar town.
Yeah. Yes, they love that kind of stuff. And so that's why they applauded when Caruso came in the game. You know, when Caruso came, he got a standing ovation when he came in the game. When Javonte went out, that's why he got that standing ovation, because that grit was dripping off of him. They can't wait to fall in love with this kind of player, man. He really fits, like, that Chicago mentality. Like, A.K. and Eversley did a great job of putting together new age things, but not throwing away your blueprint of how fans, you know what I'm saying, celebrate you. And that's not easy to do, you know, but it seems they've done that, man. And Javonte is definitely at the top of that.
So, John, while we're still waiting on Patrick Williams' return, do you want to see Billy continue to just experiment and throw a bunch of different stuff in there? You know, I think some people were surprised that Javonte got that spot start on Tuesday. You know, we're recording this midday Friday. We've got a game at 7 o'clock coming up against the Pelicans. Woo! Do you think he goes a different direction? Do you think, you know, Derrick Jones Jr. was not available Tuesday because of a minor injury. He was taken off the injury report as of Thursday, theoretically is available. Do you want to see him throw Derrick Jones Jr. in there? Do you want to see him throw somebody else in there? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Because Patrick Williams is hurt. We have people hurt. Our lineup isn't set, so we don't need to, like, build chemistry, right? Like, this isn't the time. This is time to see who vibes with who, because it's so many new pieces. Play with your toys. See what you can do. Like, and so I hope it's new. I hope, like, let's see DeMar come off the bench. Why not? Like, I want to see, like, what we have, because I think we are a deeper team. I still don't know if we have that, like, bench captain who can, like, because in theory it'll be Kobe, right? We think,
right?
Like, but that's theoretical. It could be him, but, like, to see someone who can, like, just, I got you. I'll come in 12 points in a quarter real quick. But yeah, that's what I don't know about you guys, but I'm not looking for continuity here because I just want to. I still don't know what this car can do.
No, you're right.
What about you?
That's
you want to see a different lineup tonight, Dave?
I mean, just to even echo what John said, like, that's exactly what Billy Donovan said with the lineup, with the starting lineup. He said in practice, Javonte, they never ran that lineup before. He said, I just threw it out there to see what it was going to be. So that echoes exactly what John is saying here. Yeah, I would love to see a different lineup. It's preseason, man. Like, you know, mess around, play around. It gets me more excited for the team when I can just see players, you know what I'm saying, in different roles and different positions that I know they're not going to be in when the season starts, because it removes kind of like worry that I know that you can handle this job. You know, I know that you can do this. So if something, you know, really goes wrong, I know I can plug in Stanley Johnson right here, because I'm like, oh no, I've seen him do it and I know how it kind of works with that guy. So yeah, it's perfect, and I would love to see it. But, and John, I also want to ask you, because I know your love for European players. Like, how bad do you want to see Marco out here?
More than anything, I couldn't sleep one night late summer, and I watched, like, highlights, because I didn't watch any, like, you know, I was like, it's been a year, I'll catch up on this guy later, and I did it. I was like, all rookie, he'll make second team all rookie for sure. Like, I'm all, but yeah, like, it's hard not to. it's hard not to appreciate skill and size, right?
Mhm.
Like we haven't had that. And we need size, even though he's not huge. But that's the only thing I'm worried about is in the playoffs or is our lack of size. But I also think I'd rather have what we have than too much size. Like Cleveland has too much size.
Right.
True.
And the Bulls had a lot of size last season and season prior, but it wasn't. None of it was necessarily like useful size. Yeah. Speaking of, our old pal Lowry Marketing just a minute ago, is that size? Does that count as size? Is Wendell size? Like no.
But who would be amazing on this team right now? Like truly would be the perfect fit. Daniel Gafford. He would be. I look at this team. Yeah. I looked at last night. I looked at Lonzo with lobs, and I just looked at it, and I was like, man, just a guy in the middle, a dog. God, he'd be good.
Yeah, he'd be good. He had 10 points and 6 rebounds on 5 of 5 shooting in his preseason game. I just want to throw that out there. So he would be great in this, John. And you're right, because y'all know how much I screamed about him and how I'm like, obviously he needs a point guard, to play with. So yeah, when you see the Bulls actually get that point guard and then he's not here, it's a little bittersweet, but I'm happy for him though in Washington, because I think he's going to really do his thing with Spencer Dinwiddie and those guys like that. But you're right, man. You're absolutely right. He would be perfect here. He would be exactly what they needed, because those dunks would get the United Center rocking. You know what I'm saying? All that energy that he would come with, man. It would be awesome to see.
Derrick Jones Jr. will hopefully provide that verticality of you got to look up. Hopefully
right.
that will help.
And speaking of Gafford, the guy the Bulls got sending Gafford away, Troy Brown Jr. John, I mean, what did you think about him? He was out there just chucking up threes, sharpshooter. Who knows if we're going to get that kind of consistency from him behind the 3-point line for the entire season. I think when he came over in the trade, people thought of him more as Stanley Johnson or Derrick Jones Jr. or Javonte, just a versatile, can do it all on the defensive end kind of guy. What did you think about his first preseason game?
I mean, it speaks to how deep this team is and how much there's to be excited about, that he was the 12th thing that I remembered when I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking for him. And I think in years past, someone like that is Temple. He's to me, I was remember how jacked up we were about Garrett Temple?
Oh, yeah. Garrett Temple revenge game tonight, boys.
Guys, we were excited about a guy named Garrett. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we were yeah. I think he'll do a lot. He's bad maybe in the second unit. And then I thought he was awesome. And Zach's our best shooter. Vooch in theory can shoot. Lonzo in theory can shoot. Patrick Williams in theory can shoot. Caruso can shoot. Kobe in theory can shoot. He's streaky. To have someone who can not be streaky and be reliably upper 38 to 40% from 3. Well, that's again, along with size, consistent, just knockdown shooter is what we need. And I think he can do that, but I still am not sure. But I think he can. He has the confidence that he can.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said too, John. When he was shooting and hitting those threes consistently, I was like, really? He can do that? I was a little shocked about that. I had no idea it could be that way. But yeah, if he's gonna do that, and you just got that on the bench, just ready to go whenever you need it, and he can play both ends of the floor, how deep is your team now? You just make your team even more deeper when you just got pieces like that just on your team. And I hope he stays healthy too, because I think that was a big part also about it last year, why we didn't see more of him as far as what he can do, and why we probably didn't know he could be such a consistent shooter, because he couldn't, get on the floor. So yeah, he would be amazing if that could happen.
When you mentioned the depth, Dave, it's crazy. And I just realized this. We're now, 25 minutes into our second episode talking mostly about their first preseason game, and at no point in our last episode, nowhere yet today, have we even mentioned Ayo Dosunmu, the rookie who people considered to be a steal of a second rounder, who got some good run in that game and looked really good.
He did. He looked really good.
Boy, because he would have been the savior in another year.
Oh yeah. In the old Garpax years, we would have been like, okay, that's our pick. Let's
Chandler
throw him
Hunt.
out there and hope he averages 22 a game.
That's all we have. So here's a question I have for you. Is it cool if I ask you guys a question?
Of course.
Which player do you think will surprise you the most this season positively? Like, who do you think that you'll like from your expectations to like at the end of the season, you'll be like, wow, that was better than I thought.
You know, honestly, just after seeing that, I guess I'll say Javonte Green. I didn't expect that. I you know, because you knew what you saw last year as far as being an energy guy, you know, and kind of doing stuff like that, playing spot minutes and things like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh snap, this dude got to play every game. Like he has to be in the game. Like he played I can't stress enough that he played the 4. And he is 6'4". I can't stress that enough. And not only played it well, was a problem. Offensive rebounds left and right. You know what I mean? Like just bodying up people and getting all kinds of steals. He was a big part of that run they had. Like anytime that transition kind of started for them, he was involved. You know, whether he was getting the steal or whether he knew where to be while he was running the break and spacing the floor. Like that kind of, because the Bulls talked about that a lot, right, guys? Like the high basketball IQ that they have on his team now. Like you saw his, like, and it was glowing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you just saw it a lot. So yeah, John, like I would say Javon, I was like, wow, I did not know that he had to play like every game, but he has to play every game now, like for real.
So after Tuesday night, nothing Javonte does will ever surprise me ever again. I'm like, that guy could do it. That guy could do it all.
Yeah.
If there's someone I want to be pleasantly surprised by this season, I want my answer to be Patrick Williams. Not any of the new guys, Patrick Williams, our second-year player who's going to come back in and get that starting power forward job. And with all the new toys that people are talking about and excited about, he's just kind of coasting under the radar as far as expectations for this year. But I think just how good the Bulls can be this year of such a huge roster overhaul, a lot of it will depend on how much better Patrick gets and how quickly he gets better. That's what I want that answer to be.
Mine's Zach LaVine, just for the record.
Oh, Zach LaVine. What surprise are you looking for?
I'm looking. I think that he will move from sergeant to general. Is that the right? Like he finally has soldiers, and it's his team. And like to win a championship, you need an All NBA talent. You just need it. It doesn't happen if you don't have someone who's not the top 15 of that year. Just doesn't happen. So I'm looking to him to like, yeah, I'm here. I'm not a fluke. Like if Devin Booker can go to the finals, why can't I? Like, why not? Bradley Beal's All NBA. Let's do this. Like, and so I'm looking for him to, and he's become such a consistent shooter. It's crazy. And if he can just if he gets any sort of 2-man game going and gets fouled a bunch, he'll get 6 more points a game. And that's it. Like, that's all he needs.
I mean, you saw how efficient he was on Tuesday. Yeah, and like, it's the Cavs, whatever, but like, 25 points on 9 of 14 in 24 minutes. Like, if he plays 34 minutes, I mean, my goodness.
Shooting. That's Steve Nash shooting, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just so efficient. So we need to be as best, like as good as our best talent. And if it's a bunch of 5 or a bunch of 8s, that won't work. We need a couple of 9s.
Yeah, true. I think the Bulls fan base right now is just excited that we have maybe, a 9, a couple of 8s, some 7s, as opposed to just like 4s across the board.
4s and, cards from Uno in the deck. And,
right. Like a couple of random faces from an old box of Guess Who, the board game. Like, who is this?
Card, you're like, I think this is grandma's. Like,
going from 2 Sampsons to 2 Johnsons, definitely an upgrade. Yes. All right, John, before we let you go, I want to get some of your thoughts on the Eastern Conference and big picture and Bulls expectations, because I don't think we've talked about that with you yet.
Yes.
Before we do, we've got to sell some more products. Big Dave, tell our people where they can get their sports gambling fix this weekend.
Oh, listen up, guys. John, listen up. This is big time stuff here. you want to go to Bet Online. That's what you want to do because it's your number one spot for all your pro and college football action this season. They are back and better than ever with the new updated site and the new interface. Even more odds, props, and contests. Bet Online is your number one source for everything football. Everything. Head to the website. Use your mobile device. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Now, don't forget to use that promo code Locked On. It's Locked On, and you'll receive that bonus that I just told you about. Football, basketball, boxing. You know the big fight is this weekend. You know you want to put some money on it. Your Vegas casino games, tennis, anything, quarters, whatever you want to play, you can bet on it, all right? Take advantage, y'all. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. Sports.
Today's episode of Locked On Bulls is also brought to you by our great friends at Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Did you know that Built Bar has so many delicious flavors that there's one out there for everyone? So you know what you got to do? You just got to get a mixed box of all of Built Bar's flavors from Built.com. Try them all and figure out which one's your favorite. Try flavors like coconut, double chocolate, mint brownie, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, German chocolate. There's so many delicious flavors. You got to try them all and figure out which one is your Built Bar flavor. You also have to keep an eye on Built.com for their rotating limited time edition flavors. This week, it is a churro puff Built Bar. That's right. The puff Built Bars that have the gooey marshmallow on the inside, and it tastes like a freaking churro. How would you not want to eat that? Not only are Built Bars the best tasting, they're healthy for you too. All Built Bars, regardless of the flavor, have either 17 or 18 grams of protein. That's a whole bunch of protein, but only 130 to 180 calories, only 4 or 5 grams of sugar and 4 or 5 grams net carbs. So you know what you got to do? Go to Built.com right now and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Every time you go, 15% off your order with promo code LOCKED15 at Built.com. All right, John, here it is. It's the big question. Everybody's been debating it. Everybody's been arguing it. A lot of NBA talking heads don't believe that these moves will move the needle, so to speak, for the Bulls this offseason. Where do you see them? Just kind of like quickly going through Eastern Conference teams, starting with, Milwaukee and Brooklyn. Where do you see this Bulls team finishing that a respectable, you would call success finish as far as the regular season?
Playoffs, including the play-in game.
Okay.
If they don't make the playoffs, that's a bummer. If they make the playoffs, how weird it is now with top 6 teams get to chill. I just think if you make the playoffs after what we've been through is a win. I'm not asking for anything more. I don't care about seeding. I don't think it matters. I think, the rich got richer again. And we got richer though lucky as well. So I think just if we make the playoffs, we're there. Are we better than Indiana? Probably. Who knows? Celtics do not care. I know we're not better than the Bucks in the Nets. Mm-hmm. Great. They have 1,000 MVPs, both those teams. So I just want to make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, it's you're allowed to be mad. You're allowed. We're deep and we're good and we spent money.
Right. of those teams that aren't Brooklyn and Milwaukee, are you buying the Heat and the whole Kyle Lowry hype? Are you buying Atlanta to do what they did last year? Are you buying the Knicks to do what they did last year?
Man, I think we're all kind of in the same boat. Hawks are probably a little better. I think Heat are going to be, if they make the playoff, a bad regular season team, good playoff team, one of those weird old teams that just need to just making it, and then they can kind of be locked in because they're so old. Everyone hates the Knicks. I think they'll be kind of the same. I think they got more offense, which was what they desperately needed. But I don't know if we're but we're in the the fact that we're okay, let's play the season and see where we stand. Mm-hmm. I feels great. It feels like there's a ton of talent in the East now, and a lot of competitive talent. And I think maybe it's a playing game that has discouraged tanking. I don't know, that's helped surely. Harden and KD coming east has also helped. But like, I don't know how you guys feel, but like, I think we can hang with anyone, and I think we're better than a lot of teams. I don't like. I don't think it's an insult if the Hawks are better than us. Like they,
Right.
they've money, they've tried. Like I no longer think it's insulting because we're actually trying. I think that's what it is.
Right.
We're
as opposed to entering yet another season where you just tell yourself like, yeah, no, this team's not going to be good. This team's not going to be good.
They didn't sign anyone. They didn't try. They're wearing red at home. They don't even care. It says Angry Birds 2 on the backboard. That came out 4 years ago. Like they just gave up.
Angry Birds 2.
Yeah, gave up. Like, and so that's how do you guys feel though? Like I feel like confident, which is nice, and I'm not concerned with the other ones at all right now.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like confidence is very true. I slightly disagree with you on the play-in game because I think this team is built to not even be in the play-in game. For me, the play-in game is the bare minimum, and which is great because last year and the years prior, the play-in game was it. Like if we got to the play-in game, we would have been throwing a parade. Mm-hmm. But now this year, it's like I look at the play-in game like, yeah, that's the ground for us right there.
Oh, yeah.
So now I kind of look at them being a little higher up in the seedings, which is where I want. But just getting to the playoffs is all I want. Like whatever happens there, cool, great. I just want to go because this team really does just deserve to be there. Like I think you're right, man. But when you say about Milwaukee and Brooklyn, like that's it. Like I look at those teams, I'm like, yeah, we ain't got nothing for that. Okay, like we might hang with them, but come on now, like those teams are ridiculous. Like you said, 1,000 MVPs on them. But everybody else in there, I'm like, yeah, we could play with them. We might lose to that, but I think we can hang with these teams and we might surprise you, pull off a victory here and there. So, like you said, Atlanta, Miami, I think is definitely going to be an issue. But those other teams, like I don't know what Philly is going to be and what they're really going to look like because of what they're going through. The Knicks are going to be the Knicks. Like they're going to be a good regular season team. They always are. That's a Thibodeau staple. He is awesome in the regular season. That's what he does. So that's going to be interesting to watch too. But I'm not worried about Indiana. I'm not really worried about Boston. I'm not really worried about Charlotte. But yeah, it just feels good to say that. But Atlanta, yeah, I think Atlanta is probably not getting enough respect for just how good I think they are. And they're really, really good. Like they had no fall off like in this season. They actually just added another player to their team, like in Sharif Cooper. So they didn't get worse at all. I think they're going to be really, really good and a formidable team. But the Bulls can really, truly compete with anybody. And that is something we haven't been able to say in quite a long time. With a straight face, you can say they can compete with anybody in the East. They can compete with them. And that's just going to make the season that much fun to watch, man, especially watching it with y'all. It's just going to be great.
I still think that Atlanta just benefited from the Sixers choking like dogs last season. And like, I don't disrespect the Hawks. I think they're a fine team, but I don't think they're a conference finals team. I just don't.
That's fine, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just fine. Do I think that they have a greater likelihood of reaching a high, like top 4 seed than the Bulls do coming into this season? I guess you could say it, but I'm like, like maybe 55-45 in favor of the Hawks in that regard, as far as their expectations versus this Bulls new looks squad. All right, John, we kind of touched on both of them a little bit because I know you are such a fan of the soap opera part that is NBA and following this league. I'm curious which of these Eastern Conference contenders, which storyline / chaos is more captivating to you? Kyrie maybe being a part-time player who doesn't get to play home games in Brooklyn because he's an anti-vaxxer weirdo, or Ben Simmons just sitting out and not playing games for the Sixers until they trade him somewhere. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on both of these situations.
Ben Simmons not showing up and be like, no, I've moved out, figure it out. It's my fault also. It's insane. And that's a lesser sin than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is unemployable right now. Like, if you don't want to get It's not a personal choice when it comes to public health, because then you can't be in the public. That's the so you can want the vaccine, you just can't participate in the public. When it's a public health issue, it's no longer a personal choice if you want to engage in the public. No one's going to tell you you have to, but you also then don't get to have both. Like, and the fact that he's not getting a vaccine during a time when there's the lowest trust in the media, and he's such a systemic problem of distrust and our distrust of institutions across the board. Donaghy ruined it for us, right? Like, we don't trust any institutions. Concussion, that movie with Will Smith, NFL. We have anything that was an institution in the last 15 years, we now don't believe are telling the truth. He is the worst, and that makes it makes the Ben Simmons thing look almost quaint. I feel like because he can play. He's always hurt. He's finally not hurt, and he's like, nah. And you're just like, maybe go do something else. Like, just go do something else, man. Like, we want to love you, but you're like, Ben Simmons' basketball brain is broken. Kyrie Irving's actual brain is broken. And
Wow.
I actually don't love the Kyrie stuff because I find it so discouraging. And I'm always like, what is Steve Nash thinking? Like, Steve Nash, spoke out on the Iraq War and 2 weeks after it happened. Remember that? Like, he got lambasted. And he's like, what? Come on, man. Just come on, dude. What do I need to do? I'll crystals. I'll do something. Like, what can I do? Sage? We'll sage it. What can I do? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I think they're both entertaining as just an innocent bystander whose team does not need to worry about this. I mean, I know that there were some Bulls fans this offseason being like, hey, man, if Simmons isn't happy and you can maybe get him for cheap because his trade value is at pretty much an all-time low right now, go get him. And I was like, not only do I not love the idea of trusting Ben Simmons in the fourth quarter of a playoff game to not be afraid to take a shot or even a free throw, no, I'm not trying to deal with that mess right now. And Kyrie, I'm just like, he now falls into the category of people who I have completely dismissed part of society. Like, if you're not going to be a team player with this shit, I have no time for you. No time for you. None.
Because with Ben, you think you can fix him, right? Like, a new scenery, he can learn. Like,
do some Mavericks fans think that? You know, two disgruntled stars just swap Simmons and Kristaps. Is that kind of chatter going on in Dallas?
We would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But can you imagine Joel and KP on the same team? That would just be insane. That would Lord of the Rings. But with at least Simmons, you think like, I can. It's like I can fix him. With Kyrie Irving, it's like, no, man. I've dated guys like that before. No. He's not going to grow up. Like, he is just an accident waiting to happen. That's how I feel, and he's so good. He's so good.
The Ben Simmons stuff is wild because, like you said, it's his fault. Like, dude, you did it. Like, nobody didn't do it to you. You did it. Like, of course, fans are gonna be mad at you. You won't shoot. You passed up a layup. Like, that's how it goes, bro. Like, yeah, they're mad. I'll be mad too at you. You don't get to be like, well, if you're mad, well, I'm never coming outside again. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude. What is that? It's ridiculous. The Kyrie, I was having this Kyrie conversation yesterday, and here's my whole thing about it. If you don't want to get the vaccine, okay, you don't want to get the vaccine, but you still can't operate how you feel because there are consequences for every single action. Here's on a much lower scale. I don't go anywhere if I can't wear a hat. Y'all know I love hats. If I can't go in there without a hat on, I'm not going in there. You can ask my friends this. They have been there. They have seen it. There have been many times I walked to the front and they said, you can't wear that hat in here. And I say, all right, guys, I'll holler at y'all later. Because I'm going home. I want to wear what I want to wear. But there's a consequence for that. I can't do it everywhere. That's a consequence of my actions. And I understand that. And I'm okay with that. Now, they're not telling him he can't play basketball. He can play basketball. If they're telling you, dude, fine. We'll trade you to somewhere else. You can go play where that. I don't want to do that either. I'll retire. It's a consequence for your actions, man. That's my only point of all of this. You can't do it like you want to do it and then say, okay, I'm going to continue doing it like that. It's a global pandemic, my man. Like, that's just not how it's gonna work. There's a consequence for every single action, bro. You can't be absolved of your consequences.
And at the beginning, a healthy distrust of any sort of thing you put in your body is like probably a noble instinct to have, right? Like at the very beginning, at this point, we have given you the pamphlets. You like we've given you the information. Like Jonathan Isaac, I can't hear another person say how eloquently he said the dumbest thing in the world. Like, but he said it so it sounded so good when what the sentence was wrong and trash. Like it's like how when Richard Spencer was on like Time magazine, and they're like, listen, look at this racist who has a car. Like it's like, no, it's still bad. Like, let's not provide a platform for that. And it's just the East has never been more talented in a while. It never had the drama in a while. I know we have to go, but can I ask you one more question? I'm so sorry because I want to talk to you guys about that commercial, the 75th anniversary NBA commercial, and how fantastic it is.
It is.
Were you waiting for the first 45 seconds until he appears to just be like, "Please be Dirk, please be Dirk, somewhere, please be Dirk"? You knew he was going to be in it, though, right? I mean,
he's around, and like him and Kareem, I thought was like such a nice little,
Me too.
Even his rocking chair, just teaching him how to make a sky hook. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah. Two guys with like signature shots that are unstoppable. Like, I was like, that's a nice little. Yeah. It wasn't like we're the same. But it was like, oh yeah, they both like, that's called the Dirk now. Like, that's called Dirk. Like shooting with one leg. But I loved it. They did that Kobe thing, which like if I would have read the script, I would have said, I'd cut this. This feels weird and pandering. And I was watching it and I was like, and like Devin Booker got me. Like, I was like, I just so well done. And we never get stuff that's like, it felt like a Marvel universe for basketball.
Yeah.
I loved what it was.
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah.
And not since Derrick Rose really have Bulls fans gotten to enjoy the fact that when the NBA makes something that epic and wide-reaching back into the past and the past stars of this league and the current stars of this league, is there a dude who represents the Bulls in that kind of content? And you saw Zach LaVine like doing a windmill alley-oop dunk, getting a pass from Manu, and then the legend Bill Walton saying, "Throw it down, big man." That's awesome.
And then he got Dap in front as like they said, like the new school's taken over or something. Like, I mean, I yelled like Dirk. I was like excited but it's like it's Dirk. He's like an institution. When I saw Zach, I yelled because I was like, oh, "My sweet boy!" Like,
I'm so happy for him.
Zach LaVine, we bought the stock, man. Like,
yeah.
He's the best, and that was so. I just love that he got that platform because we never get that anymore. Like Benny's always our bull, right?
Right. Who was also in it playing NBA Jam with LaMelo Ball.
How awesome was that to watch him playing with Lonzo Ball's brother? I saw that. I was like, wow, that's dope. Honestly, I was like, that's a nice connection right there. But yeah, to watch the Bulls be represented in this, and like you said, and it's current. You know what I mean? Because you knew Jordan wasn't going to be in it. But I was like, they're going to have Jordan photos and things like that because it's the NBA in 75. You're going to have Mike in here some kind of way. If Derrick Rose was on our team, like, of course, Derrick Rose's things would have been in there because it's Derrick Rose. But for the past few years, there hasn't been nothing of that representation for the Chicago Bulls. And there always should be. And to know now that it's legitimately Zach LaVine, and I mean legitimately Zach LaVine, it just feels good, man. It felt really good to just see him, man. Like, just watching him everywhere now. Just seeing him on all the commercials now and doing all kind of cool things and always smiling, always just he's happy now, man. He's been through the storm. And so now, with the sun coming out, it looks good on him. Sun looks good on him. Go ahead.
Got it. If you're a young player, play in the Olympics. It cures a lot of ills. Like, I don't think this happens without his playing the Olympics. The fact that Little Penny is in it and Penny Hardaway isn't is insane. Penny Hardaway got me watching that going, what? They got the puppet out? I didn't even get like you should like checking his spam folder. Like, they didn't even what?
One of Chris Rock said that too. Like, I didn't
speaking of Penny, the other person I was surprised to not see in that commercial because he's in every commercial ever, Shaq. Where was Shaq in that commercial?
General commercial shoot. Like,
sorry, I'm booked with the General and Papa John's and some, like
Printer
like hedge fund corporate retreat today. Like,
Dak only films non-union commercials. I don't think he wants to join the union. It's because they're all like so cheap, like Gold Bond. Like it looks like it's like from 50 years ago, and it's like, oh no, where was Shaq? Maybe it was like a TNT thing. I don't know. Like,
could have been.
Because like I don't think any of the there's no Barkley. Like I don't think there's any TNT guys.
That's true.
Yeah, Kenny the Jet wasn't in it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that could be.
John, final question. I see that you're wearing a wristband.
Yes,
but I do not see the fingerless gloves. Has it not reached the deep enough stage of fall for you to be wearing the fingerless gloves? Because that's what people come to see.
That's what people want.
Full disclosure, I don't know where any of my stuff is, as it's shown with the headphones. I lost all of my jeans. I don't know where my jeans are. My wife's like, "What did you do with your jeans?" I'm like, "I can't find them. I've looked everywhere." And my fingerless gloves, I think, are like with my jeans. We moved, and then it was
but
COVID.
Didn't you move like 2 months ago?
Yeah. But it was COVID, so it's the same athleisure pants or shorts that I wear every day. It's like you didn't really unpack to live like a non-COVID life yet. And like jeans are a part of that. Fingerless gloves are a part of that because I've been indoors exclusively.
Right.
I gotta find them. I think they're around, but I wear these because I bang my wrist on the desk, and so I wear wristbands for when I type.
So it's not actually for wiping sweat off your brow.
All these hot dog tweets are really taking out loud. Jimmy Butler's coffee with Big Face Coffee was in it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Insane. Anyway, but yeah, it was like Jimmy Butler, like all of these stupid brand tweets. Don't ever we all fall. But truly, so that's why I wear this. I gotta find them though. I looked for them, and then when I lost my headphones, I was like, I just need to be at my computer, so I'm there.
Your world is just crumbling over there, John.
Karen's out of town. I'm gonna sell the house for magic beans. That poor woman. I dropped her off at the airport yesterday. Got back in at like 7 a.m. Went to go lock up at night at like 11 p.m. Door was unlocked the entire time. The entire day. Just open.
All right.
I was like, oh my God.
Come home, kid.
So if you're looking for some furniture and you live in John's neighborhood, Wait. Hey, John, if the missus is out of town, why aren't the boys watching Bulls preseason at your place tonight?
I know. We probably should actually, but I'm probably going to be flipping back to Mavs too.
There's no problem to it. Yes,
I always got 2 screens going. But yeah, we should do a watch soon though.
I agree.
I really miss watching basketball with you guys in a way that is like profound and sad. And like I don't even try to when I start to feel it, I go, no. Like okay, your phone because like even though what we watched wasn't really basketball, it still was like so fun.
Yeah.
About if you watch good oh my God.
No, there was nobody I wanted to talk to more than y'all when that was going on. That was the first people I'm texting. I'm like, dude, are y'all watching? Y'all see it? It's the first thing I want to do is watch with y'all because I know what we went through. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what we saw.
That, right? It feels like whoa, like those coworkers that who like live through a tragedy and they meet up every year and they're like,
right,
yeah,
right.
But like like my data plan is just to text you guys essentially. Like you're the only people I text. Like and so it's like I should just call it the Bulls Outsiders data plan because that's all I use it for.
Can we get a specific data plan for just that?
Yeah,
the old discount of some kind.
Remember Charles Barkley's 5 friends or something for like
yeah.
Right. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you're right.
Limited texting my 5 friends.
Oh man, that would have been the move.
John, thank you so much for joining us last second today, hopping on and giving our guests our listeners what we promised them, which was a guest today. And this is just a nice little warm up for our guest next week, who is again a much bigger deal than you. But you know what? Every time we chat, it's like, you know what? I don't think there is a bigger deal on this planet than John Sabine. That man, you just get sucked into his gloriousness every minute that he's talking.
Right.
For y'all's sake, I hope it's a bigger deal because Lord knows business will be bad if it's
not.
Follow John on the Twitter machine, JSabine214 for his thoughts on the Bulls, the Mavs, anything NBA related. And if you aren't following Velveeta on Twitter, What are you doing?
In Clausen. Oh, Clausen Pickles. That's the Clausen Pickles
Takeover is real.
Can you tell them to start ramping up their production? I have had it with this Clausen Pickles shortage, man. I need them.
It's glass jars. There's no glass.
I know. My folks came over to see my condo like a week ago, and my mom like of course, because she's a mom, like had like a sack of groceries with her. She's still doing that. I'm 34. She still does that. But she had a jar of Clausen Pickles with her, and I was like, "Did you have to murder a man to get this? Like, where did these come from?" And she was like, "I went to 4 different grocery stores out in the suburbs," and I was like, "Oh my God, bless your heart."
I mean,
and I tried to ration them. I ate the whole jar in 2 days.
The fact that there's no glass, it's just one of those things you're just like, well, I never thought that was an okay. Well, all right. I don't know what to do now.
Don't know what to do.
There's no more iron in the world. Like, okay,
you're out of iron. Wing stops out of wings. Like everything's crazy.
Exactly.
John, we miss you, buddy. We miss you. Thank you for giving us your time. Have a wonderful weekend. And we should be watching some Bulls basketball together fairly soon. I think we all need that. Again, follow John on Twitter at JCLevi214. I am at Bulls_Peck. Big Dave is at BAL, BAWL Sports. And you can always, of course, hit us up on that text to voicemail line 331-979-1369. Have a great weekend, Bulls fans. Enjoy the preseason action this weekend. We'll be back on Monday with a fresh dose of Bulls content for you. For my friends, Big Dave and John, who I love both so very much. I'm Matt. Thanks for listening, y'all. See you, Red. Be good. Peace out.